who black women really choose. Here is a story about 3 different divestors, all of whom are broke and obsessed with white men. Oh yeah, the sex work to divestor pipeline is undefeated.
A York County woman who police say was paid to pee on a man is facing charges. Authorities say it all happened at the Days Inn Motel in Manchester Township. They say shots were fired in the parking lot after a woman admitted having a paid sexual encounter with a man allegedly stole his wallet. That man crashed his car while going to meet with officers. Brittany Abbasid has been charged with theft and prostitution. Officers say no charges have been filed against the man at this point.
To the 304 conversation of why we don't see black men, or why a lot of us will say no AA. And it's simply because you niggas, even when you do have the money, you don't think that you need to pay. And what's crazy is y'all are literally at the bottom. You make less money than anybody else. You don't have the degrees. You don't have the jobs. Y'all literally don't have anything offered but having to pay. And the fact that y'all think that y'all are still desirable enough to where you don't have to pay, and you clearly see that even your preference is denying you, it's crazy. Black men are in denial about their worth and their value, not only in sex work, but just in society. Like, so many black women are divesting from black men. So many preferences are realizing that it's not black women that are the problem, it's these niggas. Because they're also being left as single mothers. Like, it's not just us. It's culturally, there's an issue. Like, why are you on a site that requires you to pay? And then you want to act like this is a fucking, like, flea market. If I know that white men and others don't even argue with me about my price, I'm not about to entertain you and justify my rate. And I only ever have to do that with black men. And let's say you finally do get them to fucking say yes, they make the session fucking insufferable because they want to try and nickel and dime and get shit turned into a fucking porno. You're not getting anything for free. This is the service you paid for. This is the service you're going to get. But even when it comes to like dating and marriage, I see that black men are not willing to spend money on anything unless it's something they want or they feel like has value in it, like a fucking car or just dumb shit, or their homeboys. It's crazy. Black men are so homophobic. But they are the main ones to do some of the most homoerotic shit with their homeboys. It's very weird. And I promise you, it's not just the women. Gay black men also will put in their ad that they will not see black men. It's gotten that bad. When even your own won't see you, it's a problem. And I want to speak on that gay boy that's always on here talking like a preacher, talking about it's our fault why these men are down low and doing whatever. No, we need to stop blaming everybody else for grown-ass men doing what grown-ass men do. They're grown. They can go to a therapist like the rest of us have been doing and do the work. It is no longer black women's or our society to fix the problems of black men. At this point, y'all have patriarchy on your side. You have all the tools and resources afforded to you. You just will not use them. We grew up in the same homes. Your ass decided to be on the streets while the women were expected to get the fuck out and figure it out. You get to stay home and not be shit. I'm so tired of seeing that. I literally don't see a loss in income by choosing not to see black men because, again, they won't spend the money. And if they do have the money, their budget is literally $100. I'm not doing it for $100. It's like y'all literally have no value to the point where people can refuse you and it's not going to stop or affect their income. It literally, your service, your patronage, like your customer, your clientele does not matter. Like, we do not have to care about having you as a client because that's how invaluable y'all are. It is not just in sex work. Companies are realizing it. They don't want to create funding for y'all because y'all don't even know how to spend the money you have because you're cheap, you're stingy. It is what it is. One of the most frustrating things about being a flight attendant was working with foreigners, but specifically white male foreigners. We already know how they act in America. But when they're from Europe, they're 10 times fucking worse. And if you look like me, they're really not going to follow directions and fucking listen. Like, I was a flight attendant during COVID. And we saw how telling white people the word no, put on a fucking mask, take any type of direction, just goes in one ear and out the door because of their privilege and their sense of entitlement. I always said that if I was in an apocalyptic situation or a situation where it was the end of the world and there were white men in the room, I would do everything in my power to get the fuck away from them because they are going to make decisions and think that their decisions and their thought process is superior to anyone else's and anybody else's training or real education. That is why the government is the way it is, because white men think that they know better than everyone else. We need to address that the largest domestic terroristic threat of our country is white men. It's not Muslims, it's not other minority or terrorist groups. It's white men and boys. And it's not going to stop until white people get on this app and get on these platforms and address and acknowledge that they are the common denominator when it comes to these mass shootings. Why is it that when white men want to act out, their first choice is to be on some family annihilator type ish? If you want to be unalived, do it yourself. But we know that that's not what they want. It's not about dying. It's not about them not caring about their own life. It's about taking the lives of others and wreaking havoc on other people's lives. It's about violence and being a horrible person. There's no reason. I made a video about this like last year, and I was talking about how I was worried about this type of behavior in the aviation industry. How there's a white male pilot right now going on this like sympathy tour, trying to act like he took some shrooms and that's why he wanted to fly that plane into a mountain. As a flight attendant, I have been around white men that should not be behind an aircraft. And y'all see how Boeing acts when people try to speak out, when they see weird shit happening. You need to know that white men dominate the aviation industry and they fly our planes. And the only instances that we've had of white men or of planes being purposely crashed into a fucking wall is with white men. Aside from 9/11, every instance after that has been committed by white men. We need to address them as a national security threat. Xenophobia will have you thinking that the brown men and women with head coverings are the threat. It's the white family man from Texas with a wife and kids. And his reasoning for taking everyone's life out that day is because he's having a bad day and depressed. Again, he can't just go home and do it himself. He has to take other people with him. I want a psychologist. I want white people, white psychologists, therapists. I need y'all to tag stitch this video. I need to understand the mindset of white men in America that makes them think that taking other people's lives is okay just because they're sad. So I'm going to be very vulnerable in this video because I need lesbian and pansexual bi TikTok to like tap in. I'm 29 years old and I've been dating women since I was in middle school. But I've never really been in no, I'm not. My first relationship, like real relationship with a woman was when I was graduating high school, and it was with an airman, a female airman. And that was like the first time I really had relations with a woman, but she was a stud, so I never really did anything to her. It was always her doing things to me. And the next female relationship I got into was when I was 25 with my ex-girlfriend, who I still talk to now. But we were also like in a through relationship with a stud. So even then, like I have like never even eaten my ex-girlfriends. This whole conversation about the reason why these D1 athletes are seen with these YT girls is because they invest in them. It's such bullshit, and it just shows that black men still don't get it, and they still miss the plot every time, and that self-hate runs deep. Because what do you mean they invest in you? As if black women haven't been known to invest in black men since the beginning of time, just to be left by said YT girl? I need y'all to be so fucking for real and stop gaslighting black women. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. But y'all need to stop pretending like black women don't always carry the burden. We raise you alone just for you to grow up and still disrespect us. You don't get us out the hood. You don't come home to support. You expect us to baby you. It's literally the movie Baby Boy, but y'all completely miss the plot. Y'all love that movie, but completely miss the fucking message. There's a whole bunch of Yvettes and Jodys walking around.
Why are all of the black white men turning white again? Like, what's happening? First I seen Travis Kelce. He really looked like he was for the people. He was down with it, down with the clique, you know? And now his new mustache is just giving, then Post Malone? What happened? What happened between Congratulations and then 21 Savage, and now it's like country music? I miss the era, I'll say it. I'm missing the era of the black white guys. I like them. I miss them. I'm not going to say I didn't like what was going on. I don't know. It's getting a little... Where's the judge? If I don't find a love like Ketanji Brown Jackson's, then I honestly don't know what. Because the way her husband was literally crying during an interview talking about her and how he knew she was always going to be successful. Apparently, they met because he was joining them. He's white, by the way. He was joining them and taking down Confederate flags across campus. And so she was like interested in him because this white boy was taking down Confederate flags. Then they had a class together called Changing Race in America, and he was in that class. So she's like, okay, little woke white boy, what's going on? Anyway, apparently he's super wealthy, comes from like a really rich background, but she was like, let me just try it out anyway and see. And now he's like obsessed with her and in love with her and literally crying on TV when he's talking about her because he's just so proud of her. Huh? And that's the kind kind of love black women need, especially the kind who are going to be Supreme Court justices. So to put it very seriously, love Ketanji and I love her husband, so.
Notice the characteristics of all these divestors? They are sex workers, carpet munchers, and all have nasty mouths. They all have disgusting looking mouths. They act like prostitution is a legitimate job when the reality is, black women are the cheapest and most available prostitutes. They act like they are in demand, which is why I called cap to that divestor's story. Who black women really choose.
It really doesn't matter as long as he's a white